week in racing. It's time to recap it. And who better to do it than Michael and Magic? Two bros/pros who cover the highs and lows of racing around the globe on every one of their shows. Real fans look forward to these guys and their last stunts, cause they know they're not talking out of their royal ascot. What they say makes sense. So ladies and gents, sit back and relax as Blinkers Off presents The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
And this is the Magic Mike Show, episode 401. Mr. Somich.
Travers Week, huzzah!
Now, happy Travers Week to you as well, my friend. It's exciting time over at RacingDudes.com. If you didn't know, or on our YouTube channel, oh boy, we got previews of all 8 contenders as they're looking right now. 8 contenders heading to the gate for the Travers, and we're very excited about it, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun race, man. We get to see Epicenter run again, which is great. I'm looking forward to see our tourists take that step forward. I'm really interested to see what Aaron and Jared are both going to be at the Travers. Really interested to see what they think of early voting in the paddock, because in the Jim Dandy, early voting looked awful in the paddock. In the Preakness, he looked wonderful. He obviously wins the Preakness, gets dusted in the Jim Dandy. It's going to be interesting to see which one shows up on Saturday.
Yeah, and that was great. That was in part of your preview, which you can catch over there. It was really great. Go check those out when you get a chance. Like Nick says, really bummed that Charge is going to miss it. From an Epicenter fanboy perspective, I love the fact that Charge is not going to be there, because that was the biggest threat right there, was Charge It. So that's good. It's going to make even lower odds for Epicenter there. Really, I think we'll talk about the Travers a little bit later, but it's lining up like a great card too, because we've got 5 grade 1s. They moved the ballerina to this Sunday, but the personal instant, even though it's not a British Cup win and you're in for the distaff anymore, you know, that's still going to be a great race. Latruska's supposed to come back. You've got Jackie's Warrior in the Forgo. You've got the Jerkins has got Jack Christopher versus Accretive. Like, it's going to be a great day of racing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That Jack Christopher Creative matchup is one that I cannot wait for. You've always got the Glens Falls, which is an absolute train wreck on the turf right before the Travers. They go 3 turns. It's very, very difficult to handicap. Excited to have that one, because that's probably where you're going to get your price in the sequence. It'll be interesting. Yeah. Last 2 Travers days, we absolutely chalked out in the stakes. That was kind of one of those themes, but you had a superstar running at every single level. You've got a similar situation here coming up on Saturday, but at least we have horses who I think have the ability to be superstars that are going to face them in some of those races.
We've got a big, speaking of big stars, we got a big day, a big show to talk about the big stars from this weekend. So, as Nick says, how good is the Jerkins going to be?
It's going to be fun.
The lots, like Conacher going in there. I forgot Goodnight's going to be going there. Yeah, it's going to be great. So, Mike, we got a lot.
Saratoga too.
He does. Let's get right into it. We've got Saratoga and Del Mar, Woodbine, and some Breeders' Cup, and we're going to talk about the Travers as well. Let's get into it, buddy. Riders up. All right, Mike, on this past Saturday, August 20th, you and I previewed the late pick 5, and I came very close to cashing. I'm not happy about that and not connecting here, but it started off with a bang. We made a lot of predictions, and one that I was very confident, probably the biggest confidence I had, was that Echo again could be a future Grade 1 winner. And, after this debut, Mike, as we've watched the replay here, it might not be far off on that, but this might be, your hopeful, if not favorite, a very logical contender for that race.
Yeah, this is the best 2-year-old we've seen on the East Coast so far. I'm really comfortable in saying that much, at least. This was a dominant performance, and this is one of those horses where the word was out. You mentioned it that on the Thursday show, this might be a monster. By Saturday, I had heard this was a monster. The workout reports backed it up, which came out on Saturday as well. And then you looked at what was in this race, and there really wasn't anyone that was world beaters. Like the 7 and the 8, they both want 2 turns, so they're both going to get better with longer. The 6 and the 7 for Shug both want 2 turns. The 2 and the 8 are both Mott horses that weren't working very well in the morning when the word came out. So this is a spot where Echo again at 3 to 5 was probably a little bit of a value. Tried to play it the Dudes Who Bet Sport or Dudes Who Bet Daily as a daily double, and with the Moonlight snapped me off in the second half of it. But this performance was scintillating. And right here, when you get to the top of the lane, 22-1, 44-3 is fast for 6.5 furlongs, especially on debut. right here when Echo gets to the top of the lane, you can just see the talent just oozing out of this one. And this is one where Rosario, if he wasn't sick, he was just a don't fall off ride. And so Santana hopped aboard and just didn't fall off. And that's all it took. Never got hit, just kind of, encouraged a few times. But really the closest thing to this was the birds that were flying by it. No one even came close to beating him.
So one of the things that really impressed me the most off of this effort, the damn teardrop. Aaron knows this horse very well, and he's told a great story about it before. When we were looking at Pneumatic, if you remember the horse, he retired at the end of last year, but had won the Pegasus Stakes, and in that weird COVID year was, in the Belmont and the Preakness. As a half brother to Pneumatic, Teardrop was a nutcase of a horse. She's by Tappet and had that classic Tappet head caseness. This horse looks like a Tappet in color only. This was an extremely professional debut. There was no greenness, no Tappetness. This is one of those horses that you can feel very good about moving forward versus, say, when we had Whit win, it was like, well, he was pretty green, but he did it. So you don't have that kind of question mark lingering.
No, I mean, 115, basically 115.4. This is racehorse time for 6.5 furlongs. And as Nick mentioned, this horse wants every bit of 2 turns. I mean, that's the thing. This is Gunrunner out of Tappet. As they get longer, as this horse gets older, he should mature. He should get stronger. I mean, Gunrunner, like really 4 and 5 years old was when Gunrunner really came into his own. Tappets generally get a lot better from 2 to 3. You see that surge forward. So this is a horse that has unlimited potential coming out of Saratoga. And I mentioned this on Dudes Who Bet Daily on Sunday. This is probably your second choice in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, right? I mean, the Cave Rock obviously debuted for Bob Baffert, looked like an absolute monster, got a 101 buyer, I think it was. I believe this earned a 93 buyer coming back for Echo again. These are the 2 horses, one on the east, one on the west, that are going to face off at Keeneland and going to be your top 2 betting choices most likely.
One thing that caught my attention is that even though he went 24 seconds basically from the half to the 3/4, that final half furlong with this distance here, 6-1. Was still very strong there in hand, finishing strong. And like you said, looks like a horse with 2 turns. I love that we debuted at 6.5 furlongs. Like, to me, that's they were almost trying to get to 7, couldn't get there. But when you see that, that's why Shug had 2 horses in here that very clearly are going to be, like you said, 2-turn horses. So really awesome. Let's see what that buyer was. 94. Yeah, I think that's what you said. So a 94 buyer for Echo again, winning in hand. Now the big question, when Rosario recovers from food poisoning, Santana's off again, right? This is just kind of a nice little like, hey, we'll throw you a bone.
I mean, are we sure it's food poisoning? And yeah, Santana's off as soon as Rosario's back on these top horses. But are we sure it's food poisoning? Because like Jose Gomez has COVID, and they're like being really shady about what's going on with Rosario. And food poisoning doesn't usually last like 4 days. I will see what the actual verdict is here. But from a racing perspective, yeah, there's no chance that Rosario doesn't pick back up these mounts once he's back.
Nick asked if we think Breeders' Futurity is next. That's a ways down the line. The Futurity, not the Future. What is I get the stakes all mixed up. Champagne, is that the one?
Champagne.
There's the Hopeful.
The Hopeful is for 2-year-olds at the end of the meet. The Hopeful is only in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's not happening.
So that's a little bit quick. The Champagne's at Aqueduct this year, I believe, going 2 turns.
Yeah.
16th. Is that right?
No, that would no. It's still a 1-turn race. Yeah, if you want 2 turns, you have to go to Keeneland or to Santa Anita.
Well, that was at Belmont.
And Aqueduct both have 1-turn mile setups.
Oh, I thought it was the Champagne's mile 16th. Okay, so yeah, I mean, we'll be going 1 turn then next time in Champagne is my guess, and then we'll head to the Breeders' Cup, and then after that, go try and get some points at Churchill. But yeah, I mean, this is again unlimited potential from this horse. We don't know. Ironically, that was a big time debut for 3-year-old named Unlimited Potential last weekend. We don't know what is going to happen here with Echo again, but this is going to be one of those horses that's going to be an absolute threat. And it's interesting, the Echo moniker kind of even tipped the hat before this horse ever even had a workout. Now that we've had Echo Zulu and Echo again. Yeah,
not related to Echo Zulu, Echo Town, but you're right. That name in there, you just go, all right. There's some sort of ironically, there's some sort of a repeat happening here with these horses. All right, here's the race 8, Mike. This is the one that pissed me off because not only did this be the only race that knocked me out of pick 5, I played a pressed single all because I was I had no idea what the hell to do in that last race. With the Moonlight was my single here. I would have had a pressed all the way through with 4 singles. Didn't connect on that. Haughty ends up stealing it gate to wire because, of course, she did with Jose Ortiz hopping aboard. This was a very odd race. I'm going to pull up the replay, and you can kind of walk us and the fans through, and especially the podcast listeners. What happened in this race, Mike?
Well, this was interesting for two reasons. First off, again, we talked about this race on Dudes Who Bet Daily, and we projected that Howdy was the brown that would go, that this is the horse that would push. The two missing the break completely changed this race. And that like Sail By was supposed to be the leader, right? And just didn't break at all. And once that happened, and you see the two horses going to kind of rush up here outside 3 wide, but not actually rush up. Like, this is what I don't understand. Why aren't you just going for the lead here if you're the two? Why are you stopping?
If you're going to do that much, just go a little bit further.
Yeah, you're hanging out 3 wide here, and now you're like, oh, don't worry. We're gonna sit in second after breaking poorly and outrun 4 Chad Browns and With the Moonlight. This is gonna go great. Okay, yeah, sure, buddy. Go by.
Well, and we're gonna let a Chad Brown horse go gate to wire up here. Like, we're not gonna even try to challenge. Like, there's no chance. And
this right here is where the race was changed, right? Because if Sail By breaks and Howdy and Sail By both go, let's say 23-4 instead of 24-2. The race is completely different, right? And With the Moonlight, I still thought was going to get by when they turned for home. At about the 8th pole, it looked like she had all the momentum, and Howdy kind of rebroke and was able to kind of extend out that length lead or get that length lead back. But this was just a really odd race because of how it broke. It was frustrating from a bettor's perspective because of the 4 Browns trying to handicap which one was going to go to the lead. And then just the trip here With the Moonlight didn't get the best trip. You saw that the 3 horse kind of came over at the start, put With the Moonlight into the rail, forced that horse back to 5th. And now she starts to spin wide here. And just, again, she looks like she's going to motor by. And then the 6 just kind of gets another gear right about here when it looks like it's just going to be the 1, and the 6 just doesn't give it up.
Yeah, well, I mean, you see this race a million times, and it drives you crazy as a bettor when it plays out this way, when you can't figure out the pace scenario where it's the New York lone speed, and off the turn, you've got the better horse With the Moonlight who's chasing down the horse with the better trip. And the better trip, especially on turf, almost always wins. So it's tough. It's really tough.
Especially on that Saratoga inner turf course right now. If you go 3 wide on that final turn, it is hard to make that ground up. You need to be saving every inch of ground. And obviously, if you're on your lead, you can do that. When you're sitting behind a wall of 3 horses, it makes it much more difficult to pull that off.
I love the editorializing of the trip notes. Haughty strolled to front.
It's true. I mean, the thing is, like, that awkward break by Sail By completely changed the outcome of this race. And it's just frustrating as a bettor when you realize, shit, I'm just screwed here. Like, it's like, this is not how we drew this up on paper. And now you're playing in a completely different ballgame.
We're going to put a pin in Saratoga real quick because we need to go to Del Mar. Similarly, race 8 at Del Mar for 3-year-old fillies on the turf. We had the grade 1 Del Mar Oaks. And I want to bring this up because the next conversation is going to be about who's the best 3-year-old turf filly in racing in America. I guess we should leave it at that. Spenderella, I mean, it was so impressive watching this live, just watching her every step and watching Bella Bell track her every step, and then just you'll see in the far turn here, especially if you didn't see it live, it was over. It was over just in the blink of an eye.
And she didn't get everything her own way. She didn't make the lead. Nope. And she kind of is forced 3 wide here to this first half turn, right? So that the chute at Del Mar is that first 1/8 of a mile. They come out of it here, and you can see she's sitting in that 3 path there in that second group. Not a wonderful spot for her. And she's able to tuck in here and save a little bit of ground on the second turn, but they went pretty quick here. Like when the fractions came up and Aaron and I were watching this live, we're like, is that right? Like that's fast for this level. And they do go sub 24, sub 48. And the top horses kind of kept on with it pretty well here. But once she gets loose, man, I mean, this move on the turn was absolutely devastating. She looks phenomenal, especially showing a new gear and being able to stalk from off the pace.
Yeah, and a big reason I was taking a shot against her here is multiple reasons. You know, she was coming back from Royal Ascot, always a big question. And not only that, she didn't go from Ascot and just stay on the East Coast and stay at Saratoga for the Lake Placid. Graham Motion said, we're going to keep going another country away. We're going to go to Del Mar. We're going to go to a grade 1 race. You're going to go a distance that you've never tried before, at a track you've never been to, off of you've never tried coming back from England before. So many things were up against her, and then she gets that wide draw, like you said. And you see her advancing, and Bella Bell, the 2, has got her in her sights. And right here, I knew at the 5/16, I was like, this race is over. Okay.
You mentioned Bella Bell ends up running second here. Cairo Memories runs third. Cairo Memories came
hell
out
of an effort from Cairo Memories. Yeah,
came out of the Belmont Derby. The second best and third best horses in this race ran their race and got dusted. That to me is what's also very, very impressive. Bella Bell got a good trip, ran very well, and got smoked by Spenderella. and she was 7-2 second choice in this race. It never looked like a winner because of how good Spenderella looked. And she beat the rest of this field by 2-3 lengths, which is impressive in and of itself. So like the fact that you have everyone run well and you still dust them is even more impressive considering all of those aspects that you mentioned that she was trying to do for the first time.
A couple of the horses to mention here. Spenderella, obviously impressive, extremely. I ran into Tyler Gaffalione after the final race at Del Mar. I'm just joking. I was like, was it worth coming all the way out to California for just 3 races? Yeah, it was worth it.
That's not a horse you want to get off of. We'll put it that way.
yeah, you understand multiple reasons why he left Saratoga for his horse. Bella Bell, Cairo Memories on the California circuit. These are the best 3-year-old fillies here. Tezza Ray is one that I've been waiting to run this kind of a race. She actually misses third by just a neck. It's a Peter Miller trainee who was undefeated in 2 starts on Del Mar's turf last year when she came over for Slam Dunk Racing. Had a rough effort in the San Clemente, had some bad trip troubles, but this is the effort I was looking for her. So I'm going to watch her closely. The 12 Ballet Dancing as well as one to watch for Simon Callahan. She has some dirt breeding as well in her family. So I'll watch what she does. But ultimately, Mike, the big question is Spenderella the best real turf filly racing in America?
Well, before we get into that, this was probably one of the worst beats I took this weekend. I had the 11 on top of the 2, 6, 12 super. And the 10-cent super, I had $5 on it. The 10-cent super paid $64. I need those 2 to get by the 5, and that thing's paying like $150 for 10 cents when I had $5 on it. So that was a really frustrating beat, let me tell you.
I'm sorry.
I like that 6-2, and I agree with you on the 12 as well. I think both of them are very good turf fillies. I wouldn't move them to the dirt. I think both of them have a very good chance of winning on the turf in a stakes race here in California. You just have to find a way around Bella Bell. Spenderella is the best 2-year-old filly from the U.S. Distance-wise, then we got to talk about With the Moonlight a little bit, because if With the Moonlight is going 1.25 miles, 1.25 miles, and she is getting to face multiple horses and doesn't have this Tetris setup that she had to face at Saratoga,
right?
I think she is as good as Spenderella. I wouldn't just say, okay, I want to be captured in the moment, because this field was deep but not as good as the Saratoga field, right? Howdy would have been the second choice in this race, maybe third choice, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say that Spenderella beat a better field. And the distance, as was mentioned in the chat, was a little bit short for With the Moonlight at 1 mile and 1/16 as well. So depending on the distance, I think Spenderella and With the Moonlight are pretty close. But I think they're the 1-2 right now in America from a filly routing perspective.
Pretty exciting. Charlie Appleby, Graham Motion, both trainers who are not in the news for nefarious reasons, doing well with their horses. I see in the chat, oh boy, Dennis is trying to pull a Jared. Wasn't impressed by Spenderella and is stirring up all sorts of shit. We're gonna stay out of that one. I'll just let Dennis keep digging his own grave. Speaking of people digging their own graves, Mike, nice transition. You want to get back on the Caravel bandwagon, buddy? There's still a seat for you. I saved your spot. I didn't give it up.
I felt really dumb when I had the next 4 crossing the finish line. Let me tell you, that was pretty frustrating. Look, she ran.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I had all 4 of them. She ran really well here. I don't feel bad for jumping off when I jumped off. I like the price is the reason I feel dumb, because that was a nice price on Caravel there. It's 7-2. That is a good number on that horse. I really wish I would have stayed on for just one more race and gotten that one home, but here we are. Well, we'll see. She's tough because I don't want her at a short price, and now we're going to get her back at a short price. Yeah, and she's just not that dominant. Change of Control probably had the worst trip and was the best horse in this race. But man, she did everything right. Sat 3 wide, got the job done. But man, that Change of Control trip was brutal.
I just saw her check up again when you mentioned that. We'll go back and watch the head on and highlight that. That actually might have cost her the win based off of her only missing by a half length. Listen, you nailed it. I said it on the show. I could not believe that Caravel was 4-1 on the morning line. And I was like, anywhere near that, sign me up. And I got it. That was the one time. That was the one time. Hope you all enjoyed it.
I didn't think you're getting 4-1. I mean, that was one of my main reasons when we talked about it. And I thought she was in trouble right here. And again, she kind of re-breaks away from the pack here. Is the 8 can't make a move. The 7 can't get by on Legal Smile. I had the 7-8 exact, and I'm like, oh, this is great. And now you see the 1 rolling late. Change of Control was the best horse in this race. Don't get me wrong. If you go back and you watch this trip and you focus on the 1, she had a boatload of problems. I think she had to check like 3 times during that race. So I'm interested in changing control out of that one at the right number. Caravel to me is, again, it has to be the right price. I'm not sure I'm going to get the right price on Caravel for a couple more races now, unless she, somehow faces a wild field or goes against the boys.
Then I was just going to say that you take a shot against her as soon as she goes back up against the boys. That's been her Achilles heel. And you respect that they are aggressive with her throughout her career. There are very limited options for turf sprinters, especially when it comes to grade 1 races. So she'd have to go to the boys a lot. But for example, Breeders' Cup turf sprint, don't want anything to do with her. Then I think she'll be in a lot of trouble that day. But we'll see what happens. Speaking of horses, we will see probably at the Breeders' Cup, Nest wins the Alabama by 4 1/4 lengths. Easy as she does it here. Secret Oath runs second once again. You got to watch this live and react to it. So what did you think about the race?
It's another one where the second best horse ran her A race and got dusted by the best horse, right? I mean, Nest, absolutely phenomenal here again. The pace was a little bit slow, but she didn't break very well. She sat right outside the speed. And when she was asked, man, she just took off. And Secret Oath got a good trip here. If you watch where Secret Oath, the 7 horse is, she tucks out 2 off the rail. There's enough pace here where, where Nest is not able to just be really comfortable up front. You can see she's going to be 3 wide into this first turn. To me, this is one where Secret Oath fired a shot and it wasn't good enough. And Nest is clearly the best 3-year-old filly. If there was any question going into this race, there is none coming out of it. And now the question is she the best filly, period, in the country? And there's the people like, is she going to the Classic? No, she's not going to the Classic. Okay, let's get that one out of our way right now. Yeah, we're not doing
3. That. Calm down.
Yeah, we're not doing that. So yeah, I'm the question now is she the favorite in the distaff? And I think probably right now she is.
Well, at least until we see the personal ensign and we see what else happens. I can't stop laughing because Dennis was disagreeing with other people in the chat about Spendrella, and one of his arguments was that she just had an ideal trip. So Curtis said when Nest comes up, let me guess, Dennis didn't find this impressive because Nest got a good trip too.
Yeah, I couldn't believe this exacta came back for $4. That to me was wild. Like,
whoa.
Yeah, this is a $4 exacta. That was way overlay. Because gerrymander, okay, fine, but I was never a gerrymander fan in this spot. Like, clearly the first best horse and clearly the second best horse in my mind, and it paid $4 to come back. I mean, think about how many 4-1 shots you were that confident in. If you love Nest at 1-5, this exacta paying 4-1 was crazy.
And Nick says that even for the Super, Nest over Secret Oath over 2 long shots and Goddess of Fire and Scratch Cat. Super paid surprisingly well as well. Goddess of Fire, really good effort from her. Nowhere close to the top 2, but consider they're going 1.25 miles, and she's the younger sister of Mind Control, who poops his pants after a mile. I thought that was pretty impressive effort from her. I think her cutting back to wherever she will be very sharp from this race.
Yeah, I thought that was a great effort too. It was nice. Pletcher had 2 in here. Goddess of Fire was the other one, obviously, and you could see why. She ran well. I mean, this is grade 1 type for
and galloped out past Secret Oath.
Yeah, this is grade 1 type for Goddess of Fire now, and she was, the horse that was running behind Kathleen O down in Florida. So this is a great effort for her. We'll see what she does next. I wouldn't be shocked if they try her 2 turns again, but they move her away from Nest. I mean, if you avoid Nest and Secret Oath, Goddess of Fire could be the best horse in a lot of these 100K, 200K, 300K Mid-America Stakes races.
Oh yeah, you can still make a lot of money with her, and they've already made $320,000. Great effort from her. 99 buyer for Nest. It doesn't live up to the 104 from the CCA Oaks, but whatever. It's the fact they didn't make that 100, like for that effort. That's just a dick move, Andy Buyer.
Come on, dude, stop allowing your numbers that are mathematically figured out to not give her 100 there. And I got to agree with Curtis here, by the way. As someone who backed Nest in the Oaks, it gets more and more frustrating every single race. She didn't win that damn thing.
Okay, so that's how I feel about Epicenter in the Kentucky Derby as well. Yes, we can lament both of those. Although I will say, at least the horse that beat Nest, was a good horse that did that. So, all right, one more race. Go ahead.
Nest got a bad trip in that spot too. Frustrating.
She did. I rewatched the Belmont Derby stretch run when doing the previews and stuff. She had a bad trip in that, and I don't know if she would have beat Mo Donegal, but you would have had a couple of R's right there at the wire, man. That if she had broken through inside instead of having to tap on the brakes.
Yeah, as someone who bet Mo Donegal in that race and bet her in the Oaks, if she had won the Belmont, I would have been pissed. I would because I faded Mo Donegal every stretch of the way, everywhere I could, until the Belmont, where I'm like, now you bet him. And if she had been the one that knocked him off, I would not have been a happy camper.
And to your credit, you had been all season saying Belmont, 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 Belmont horse. So that works out. Do we need to? No, this last one's a 35K and 2L. We didn't hit it. Let's see. I saw the pick 5 paid $410.50 for 50 cents. Considering you had Nest get home there, you had Echo again get home there, you had Caravel at 4-1, almost 7-2 there. That's pretty good. There really weren't any crazy prices here. Haughty paid $13.40. That was the only double-digit payout for the sequence. So all things considered, pretty good there, Mike.
Yeah, and Howdy was really the tough one to get to because Aaron and I were talking about this. I would have had to go 5 deep. That would have been the last brown on the ticket for me. And so I would have had to go 5 or 6 there and to get to that horse. And that would have been the one in my mind that was a struggle. The one gets home. I mean, then all of a sudden we're talking about pressing through the sequence galore, right? Because of who ended up winning. And then you could actually make some money on it.
What was I going to say? I want to do a quick shout out while I pull up the next thing here. Taxi Dave on Twitter. He's sometimes in the chat too. He ran into him at Del Mar because on Saturday I was the John Lee's having come down and be the guest simulcast host, which was awesome. Thanks again to John for that. Everybody who reached out and said that they watched and bet, that's why we did that. So, but I ran into Taxi Dave and he was had a lot of praise for us. But it's always great when we can run into people at the track. You've been at the track a lot more often than I have recently, so it's happened a lot more recently to you. So when it happened to me, it was pretty great. So yeah, very excited by that.
It's great to see people come up and introduce themselves. I mean, we've had Sylvain drove down from Toronto to come see Aaron and I at Saratoga. It was awesome to meet him there. There's just a bunch of people that would come up and say hello, say they love the podcast. We talk about the races, talk about who we like. It's so much fun, especially for someone like, right now I'm in North Carolina. No one wants to talk about horses with me here. So it's a lot of fun when you're at the racetrack when people actually want to talk about horses to be able to talk about horses. So it's great to kind of meet people and get the words of encouragement. People are enjoying the show. And real quick on that note, Nick, who we hung out with at Keeneland, he's alive here to do 9 for 15,000 at Colonial. So let's go 9, 24-1 on the board. Also has the 5 and the 1, who are the 2 favorites. So let's get this 9 home. If not, let's hope the 5 or the 1 win by open lengths.
Keep me updated on that. I don't have it picked up, but I did see
10
that
minutes. I'm flipping back and forth between that and Indiana Grand.
Oh, okay. We got time. Jason mentions in the chat. He says, before I forget, thanks for the plate preview with JD Fox. Thanks to JD Fox, who came in and guest handicapped. He is a Woodbine betting expert. I wasn't bullshitting when I called him that in the preview and everything. But Jason says, I was on the 11, a different horse, a Cause in Mayhem, the Todd Pletcher horse, until JD said to absolutely toss him. So I went harder on the exacting try. Great moves because Cause and Mayhem finished second to last in the field of 11, and Moira got the win. Let's pull up the replay. I don't have it. There we go. We'll talk about the Queen's Plate here. We don't usually talk about the Woodbine that often. It's a lot of fun for me, for Aaron. We like to follow it. Queen's Plate, this is, if you don't know, it's restricted to 3-year-old Ontario breds. And fillies enter this a lot more often because the fillies and males they're a lot closer in talent usually in Canada. This is actually, she becomes the 38th filly to win this race, and it's been running for 4 years, something like that. And all she did here, Mike, was set a track record.
Yeah, and like the 5-pound weight advantage makes a difference. People who don't believe in weight differences are crazy. Like this is one of those examples. I'm not saying she wouldn't have won with extra 5 pounds because she's a phenomenal filly, but the stat that you gave out, the fact that she gets to carry 5 pounds less than the boys here going this long, this early in their career does make a significant difference. Yeah, this is a great race, man. I love the fact that you consistently get big fields and you get good betting races in here. We've got Jason here saying, I don't understand how she went off at 9-5. I don't either. She was a standout on paper. I was shocked the money that was coming in. I believe
she wasn't even the favorite.
No, the six went off as favoritism there. Rundor Pratt was aboard for Katrina Veseliva. And okay, I get it, but
won the plate trial, basically won the male prep for this, where she won the female prep. And if you watch the two of them side by side, which horse do you want to bet? Like, I don't care who they were facing. Which one of those two do you want to bet?
Yeah, I mean, like she went a mile and 1/8, he went a mile and 16th, and she seemed to really enjoy the extra distance. Like to me, I was surprised. I was in tournaments this weekend. This was one of those races, so I played this one. I actually have a stable up horse out of this. We'll talk about it in 1 minute here. This is also another good example. We talked about this last week. We hit it at 38 1-1 exacta. The 1 and the 10 ran first and second in the prep for this. If you just put her over the 1 and the 10, you hit the try and it paid. Like, so a lot of times if you look for horses that ran together, you can find a way to figure out, okay, how can I get some buck here? Yeah, there you go. Exactly. And it was the 1 and the 10 that finished 2 lengths apart. It wasn't hard to get to one. If you're getting to one, you should be able to get to both. And then the try actually pays out pretty well here. But she was phenomenal, man. This is one where she just put him away around the turn and never even really asked there. Look at him celebrating at the 16th hole.
Exactly. So off the turn, I'll show you the point. I was watching, I think, Colson was taking a nap, I think, and we were sitting in the living room just hanging out. And I had this on specific. I turned on just to watch this. And I'll tell you the point where I was like interrupted her important work that she was doing. I was like, you've got to watch what is happening live. It was right as she gets past this group of horses like nothing. It was like, stop what you're doing. It was right here. I was like, watch what she's doing. Stop, watch this filly. And just like at this point, you think maybe she's out of it. I'm like, no, she's gonna destroy this field.
Oh, they went quick too. I mean, sub 24, sub 47, sub 112. But the way that she engulfed those top two there, and the fact that, like, look at the one horse who is going to end up running second here, doesn't make up any ground. Like, he's just he's moving better than everybody else, but he's not making up ground on her, especially when she's being asked to go. So, really, really impressive here for Mora. The sky is the limit. I'm interested to see where she goes after this, because I would love to see her end up at the Breeders' Cup.
So I will tell you the plan from talking to JD Fox that, first of all, I think I mentioned, we brought it up in the preview, but going into this race, there were some very smart people at Woodbine who felt she was going to win the Canadian Triple Crown. She wasn't even, that's like justify thinking he might win the Triple Crown. And he was the second choice in the Kentucky Derby to, I don't know who the hell was even in his race that finished like 8th. Like, practical joke. We'll just pick on him. We'll say practical joke was that horse. So come on.
Nice,
this is ridiculous. That might be the wrong year. Anyways, the point is, Canadian Triple Crown, the next step, they go to Fort Erie and she's going to have to try the dirt. They go, I believe, the Preakness distance, mile 3/16 on the dirt at Fort Erie. That's next month. That race, usually you don't see that many horses show up for it. They usually will stick around and wait for the third leg, which comes back to Woodbine, and they go 1.5 miles on the outer turf course. So a very different style of Triple Crown. Like, you've got to be 3 surface talented to do it. And that's why we saw Mighty Heart, try to do it and come very close. And then that third leg, that turf going 1.5 miles, it did boof. It's like saying, all right, do the Derby, the Preakness, now do the Belmont on turf. Everybody's going to go, no.
Well, do the Derby on synth, do the Preakness on dirt, and do the Belmont on turf. I mean, that's just,
there you go.
Changing different distances and surfaces every single time. It creates, if you think it's hard to just switch the distances up in America, imagine that. Now, there is more time between races, which obviously there's a whole debate about this year about whether or not these races are too close together in the U.S. You get a month between them in Canada, which obviously helps out. But again, I want to see her come south. Come down to the Breeders' Cup. Come on, take on some of the girls down here.
That's the plan eventually. They want to go, I think it's going to go Triple Crown and then Breeders'. I would be filly mare turf, I think, is what they're probably going to aim for with her. I don't think they'd go distaff with her.
She's a turf horse too, which is the crazy part about this. Like, she's better on turf than dirt. Now, synthetic, obviously, I'd take more over turf. But what was your justify question? Who ran second to him in the Derby?
No, who was like way behind him in the Derby? Because Ronderer wasn't close to Moira. That was kind of the point I was trying to draw.
Yeah, I mean, Audible. That was that class.
He was third. Good Magic was second. It really doesn't matter. It was a dumb thing to say. Let's go back and focus here. Like Nick said, he hit the dollar try, cost him $6 using the horses. Yeah, the 110 and the 6, who was the favorite, and it paid very well because the 6 fell out of there. So,
all right, can we talk? Can we talk about my stable up horse? Someone mentioned him in the chat here.
This one?
Yeah, the Minkster. This is a classic example.
Oh, the Minkster.
We talk about the 4-horse, a horse like the 4-horse, the Minkster, every single year on the Derby Trail. This horse is better at 7 furlongs. This horse is better at 1 turn. This horse ran its eyeballs out at 1 1/8, ends up finishing 3rd to last. When you cut this horse back, the Minkster is going to be a very, 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 very good horse. Play this horse on the cutback, and hopefully the first time it cuts back, you get a decent price. So I stabled up the 4, the Minkster, out of this. I want the 4 on a cutback. 7 furlongs, 6 furlongs, maybe even a 1-turn mile, things like that. All would be very, very, very good for this horse. This was just way too long. Didn't even want the lead. That's the thing. Like, you can see, he's trying to get him to slow down up there. If you go back to the PPs, I mean, look, this horse wins at 6.5 furlongs. Does win at 1 1/8 last year. Comes back, debuts at 7, and is dominant, running an 89 buyer. Then he runs in that Queen's Plate trial that Sir for Sure and Hall of Dreams both came out of was a $1.80 favorite and pressed the pace and then quit off it at 1 1/8. The horse doesn't want this distance. So the mixture on the cutback definitely stable that one up.
My boy Jack was the second choice. That's right. That was when that happened. That's a great point. And you know what's weird too that you're saying do the cutback, because Mixter is a son of English Channel. Usually you don't say cutback unless it's like, listen, don't have them run from Saratoga to Gulfstream. Cut back a little bit in distance on that.
Well, maybe you can stretch back out when you're older. But at 3, this horse clearly wants to be sprinting, right? And maybe you want to be turf sprinting with this horse because, again, English Channel, usually is turf better than synthetic with English Channel horses. And maybe this one's also one where it gets older, it's going to get stronger and stronger because you see English Channels hit their stride at 5 usually. That's
true. And also remember with Woodbine, the synthetic course or especially with the outer turf course being on the outside of that, they can go 1 1/16, 1 1/8 with one turn. So, he can use that English Channel kind of distance a little bit to handle that, but it's still one turn where his sprinty side seems to kind of come from. It was we'll keep following her. Nick says put her on grass and don't mess with dirt. The problem is they want that Canadian Triple Crown. They have to mess with dirt if they want to do that. And that's the goal for her. So, we'll keep following more. You can bet the Prince of Wales Stakes, which is September 13th. We'll have a preview for that. Mike, do you want to volunteer for that, or would you like to volunteer Aaron for that preview?
Oh, Aaron can do that one.
Or maybe JD. I'll see if JD wants to, actually. JD did a great job. Not only that, but JD giving out the exact try as well. So,
I mean, he is the most knowledgeable Woodbine person we know. So I don't hate that idea. Sorry to Dan, who proved if he's watching the show, may have felt that as a shot against him.
No, that's all right. Mike, the Travers Stakes is this Saturday. We don't know if the draw is Tuesday or Wednesday. There's still some conversation trying to figure out what the hell the answer is for that. But you can bet we're ready at racingdudes.com. Looking ahead right now, it looks like a field of 8. Charge it, unfortunately, is probably going to have to miss it with a foot abscess. But looks like Pennsylvania Derby for him, so minor injury, minor setback. Who is your top pick for the Travers Stakes looking ahead right now?
Man, look. Okay, in my mind, it's 2 horses right now that I'm between. Epicenter looked phenomenal. It's really hard to pick against Epicenter. I really don't love the Epicenter price. I'm concerned it's going to be significantly lower than what I'm looking for. I kind of like Arturus. I keep watching the Curlin, and I keep watching this horse romp and the move that he makes around the turn and how loaded that horse was. I think I'm going to like the price on Arturus a lot better than Epicenter. And like, if it gets close and you make that face, Epicenter's going to be 3-5, man. Like,
I'm not making a face.
Like, if Epicenter goes off at 3-5 and I'm getting Arturus at 4-1, I know which one I would bet to win, and I know which one I'd rather press through in a pick 4 or pick 3, especially if you're chalking out a little bit earlier. So for me, the best horse in the race, your most likely winner is Epicenter. The horse I would probably rather bet, and this is price dependent, obviously, is Arturus.
That's interesting. I don't hate my top pick's gonna be Epicenter. Shouldn't be any surprise to anybody. But for me, a back-wheeled exacta with, I might play Epicenter to win and then put like Artorias on top and Epicenter in second. One thing that I learned at Del Mar this past weekend when I was there, I'm really good at picking horses that hit the board. I think six of my top picks finished second in the second or third at Del Mar. Yeah, second at Del Mar over the weekend. So I did your show parlay. This when I realized what was happening, the second half of the card, I turned into a show parlay, and actually then I started making all my money back. But the point being, I had somebody, Bob Bike, another handicapper, kind of explain, like, if you had just taken some of your picks and just back wheeled a little bit with some of your other ones that you liked that ended up knocking you out, you do that with your exactas, it pays out pretty well. So, that to me, this feels like a spot where Epicenter gets snake bitten, loses the Derby when he shouldn't have, loses the Lecomte when he shouldn't have. Travers is, it's the race that American Pharoah lost. Saratoga is the graveyard of champions. If he loses, I mean, there's some horses here that could do it, and it wouldn't really be that shocking.
Yeah, I mean, you have, Slim, obviously you're mentioning early voting in the chat. Early voting beat Epicenter in the Preakness. What early voting we get, I think, is a key to this race. If it's that really, really good looking early voting that we saw at the Preakness versus the sweaty, just not nearly as strong early voting we got in the Jim Dandy, you could tell in the paddock early voting was not winning that race. That's going to be the key. And the fact that Brown brought him back so quickly and said, hey, we're gonna run him back in here, tells you that Brown believes the horse is ready to go and ready to roll. And we'll see what happens here with the horse and how it looks in the paddock. We're going to have a live show on Saturday. Aaron and Jared will be in the paddock for the Travers. You're going to be able to get that type of information if you join us right here to watch the lead up to and the Travers. We won't have the races live, but we'll be talking through them, talking handicapping strategies, and obviously talking to some guys at the track so we can get an idea of how these horses look in the paddock.
Yeah, if you be Racing Dudes live show, and if you were here for the last tournament show, so 2 weeks ago, Aaron was at Saratoga and started reporting live during the stream and was getting dabs from as many people as he could. That turned into the biggest hit we've ever had since Rich Strike won the Kentucky Derby. So we're going to have that again. It's a lot of fun. Tune in for that. Mike and I will be holding down the fort here while Aaron, Jared, and Slim are live at the Travers. Slim says he's not going to be in the FM paddock. He says, how dare you?
I didn't say Slim. I said Aaron and Jared. Slim will be wandering around in I believe, an outfit. I'm not positive about that, but I believe there may be an outfit on the table here.
Slim will be in a cloud, and nobody will be able to breach into it. It'll just be Slim's cloud that just kind of moves and hovers around Saratoga the whole day. And you just got to chase him with your phone and try and capture it on. That'll be what happened. But anyways, it's a lot of fun. Like Mike said, we talk about, it's basically like having a simulcast show, except you don't have to listen to the blowhards at Naira. So we're here to have fun, and we drink and crack jokes and make fun of each other. It's just overall a lot of fun. So we'd love it if you can tune in for that one. We'll be doing that on Travers Day.
And we will have a tournament on Friday as well. Magic mentioned the one 2 weeks ago. We got another Racing Dudes tournament. So if you're a subscriber on the site, click onto your dashboard. You can go over to the tournament challenge and join in the tournament for $10 this Friday. You can join, facing off against the dudes. We'll add $150 in site credit there as well to the subscriber that has the highest total. And of course, we'll do a live show as well. So we'll be, Magic and I will be here live Thursday for the Magic Mike show, covering the late pick 5 from Saratoga. We'll be here live Friday, covering the last couple races at Saratoga in the tournament, and live Saturday, covering the card from Saratoga. So you're going to get sick of us if you want to learn or want to cover Saratoga this weekend.
He never gets sick of us. Absolutely not. No. Us? Never. No, that'd be fun. No, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very excited for what we have planned for everybody. Travers Week is coming, and if you haven't seen down below, we have the Travers Stakes Inside Track Wagering Guide is available for pre-sale. Stupid Pampers commercials. Hey, guess what kind of brand diapers we buy in this household? There you go.
I always love when people pull these things up and you get to see what all their ads are.
I don't. Some of it I'm like I don't understand because I try and turn off all the tracking, so sometimes it's random. But the Pampers diapers, that was not random. But anyways, hey, Travers Guide is going to be. It's available for pre-sale right now. If you are a Racing Dudes premium subscriber to either the Somobombs, the premium products, the Rockets, all of the above, you get that included. If not, it's going to be $39.99. It's going to include top 4 consensus from all of the handicappers. So myself, Mike, Aaron, Jared, Papa Dude, Dr. Miranda, I believe might be contributing. I don't know if Slim is contributing or not. I'm not going to guess because apparently when we guess what Slim's doing, we're always wrong. So I'm just going to say, look for what Slim says in the chat in about 8, 7, 6. I'm just going to go ahead.
Yeah. Slim will be reporting all afternoon, so we'll have live shots of the track from Slim. See, this is going to be interesting. We're going to have to rotate through Aaron, Jared, and Slim as we go through this, so we don't have all 3 of them just talking over each other on the live feed.
Oh, boy. Tune in Saturday. See what happens. That's always fun. No, it is going to be a lot of fun. Like I mentioned, make sure you bring something to drink. And yes, again, the tourney on Friday, if you're just going to need to be a Racing Dude subscriber. So if you want to get that wagering guide and you want to play in the tournament, just become a subscriber. You're going to get invited to both of those. This is $10 to enter. It's $150 in horsetourneys.com site credit to the winner. The top 3 playing for cash prizes. Dr. Tang has cashed out before. Mike's cashed out before. I've cashed out before. Jared always gets really close to winning and never actually gets it done. So tune in, see what happens. But even if you're not a tournament player, go ahead.
Yeah, if you want to game the system, right? We do this every 2 weeks. If you sign up on Friday as a subscriber, you can enter the tournament on Friday, enter the tournament 2 Fridays later, enter the tournament 5 Fridays after that, because it would all be within a month, and get the guide.
Boom, and then you can just cancel it. There you go for your 30 days. Now, we don't want to encourage you to cancel it because by that point, you'll be having too much fun and you won't want to cancel. But we have had several people who have joined and just because they want to take part in the tournament, and they've stayed because the picks are that great. So, yeah, come join us, please. It's a lot of fun.
And if you've never done tournaments, it's a great way to get involved too. I obviously love tournaments. I love the tournament circuit. I like playing the win place ones. I like playing the live bankrolls. Horse tournaments allows you to qualify for all the major events. And we use the same races that they use for their qualifying tournaments on Friday. So you can see how you stack up to try and get into NHC, try and get into BCBC, the $15,000 cash tournament, try and get into the Kentucky Downs tournament, which is a phenomenal one to play. It's 6 days and they crown a champion of the meet. It's 3 two-day tournaments that you can qualify for by winning one single tournament on horsetournaments.com. So if you haven't tried them out, it's a great way for $10 to get involved in tournaments and have a nice little $150 sitting there as well.
Like Jason echoes my thoughts. These tourneys are a good time, even if I'm really bad. I'm usually either really good or at the very bottom with Dr. Tank. So
Magic's either rooting for himself or rooting against Jared. That's pretty much what's happening.
I don't see how those have to be separate. They can be together. In fact, they usually are. No, it's a lot of fun. So tune in, even if you don't, if you're not a tournament player, maybe you're curious or you just want to have some fun Friday afternoon or evening, join us. The YouTube show is free. It's live. It's about an hour long, and we handicap the races that are ending at Saratoga. So, Aaron and Jared will be there. Mike and I will be going through the races, and maybe we can put together a late double for that. So, hey, Marla says she subscribed. No, I'm not sure what to do next. I'm a degenerate too. We love Marla. Marla, we'll help you out. Don't worry. We'll get you taken care of.
And Francis brings up a point here. I'm excited to see Cyberknife here. I was not as high on Cyberknife in the Haskell. I had the horse sitting. I thought it was a logical second or third choice with White Abarrio. I liked Taba a lot. I did not like Jack Christopher very much in that spot. I wish I was hybrid on Cyberknife because of what that exacta paid. I'm really interested to see Cyberknife come back against this field because I'm trying to figure out where Taba fits with these horses, right? And I think having Cyberknife now running that in the Travers after running the Haskell will give us a little bit better of an idea before we get to Kentucky. And next time we will most likely see Taba face anyone in this field.
Yeah, a curious thing about Cyberknife, the Jim Dandy, the last place horse was not Tawny Port. Tawny Port finished a very good third in the Jim Dandy. He's not in the Travers discussion. Brad Cox trains both of those. He won the Haskell. He saw Tawny Port take a shot. You think he doesn't? Cyberknife went to the Haskell after a different horse won the prep at Monmouth, and that horse didn't show up. Like, Cox is very confident in this horse. I'm with you. I think, maybe a small little back wheel exacta, Artorias and Cyberknife over Epicenter.
Yeah.
That really could happen. Yeah.
I don't like backwheel exactas, so I'm not going to get too much into it because I feel like you're devaluing your own picks. But what we don't backwheel the favorite in second. Backwheel like a 15.
Oh no, yeah, don't do that
in second. Like there are ways to use the backwheel effectively.
It's meant to be like long shots.
Yeah, don't be backwheeling 3 to 5 shots in second. That's not a great idea. I realize it's basically like a saver bet. But if you're betting a saver bet, what's the freaking point? Just lose the $10. Don't try and win your 12 back. Like, come on. It'll all work out in the end. And Dr. Tang, you haven't debunked the burger sandwich theory. Your only argument is that it's not on the menu under the same section. And I literally Googled menus where it was listed as a sandwich. So you've got nothing. You've got 0 arguments in this debate.
What have we done? What have we done here? Let's get out of here before we cause any more other troubles. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you haven't yet and you're watching us on YouTube, please like the video, subscribe to racingdudes.com and youtube.com/racingdudes. Like I mentioned, we got a lot more videos coming out this week. So we got a lot more work to do. So I'm going to keep going on that one. Mike, any final thoughts before we get out of here, buddy?
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to you. To you, my man Magic. The man who went 2-0 and won 2.75 units this week on Dudes Who Bet Daily betting Canadian football. That man right over here was undefeated picking Canadian football this week. As a show, we went 14-5, something like that, up something over 10 units. We're going to switch over to dollars. So we're playing for $100 units, essentially. The show was up over $1,000 last weekend. It's now up over $2,500 in 6 weeks. That's every Wednesday through Sunday at noon Eastern. We give out our best bets from the sports and the racing world. So we're covering Del Mar, Saratoga, and we're actually prepping every graded stakes at Del Mar and Saratoga as well. So it's a great opportunity to come join us at noon for a quick little hitter. The shows are about 15 to 25 minutes, giving out the best bets from the racetracks and from the sports world. Phenomenal start to the show. We started doing this the first week in July. We're up about 25 units through 6 weeks. So pretty damn good.
It's been incredible. Especially we did have a rough start. Oh, if you go back and check that the first, like Aaron said it, like the first 2 or 3 weeks, we really had to feel it out. Didn't really quite know what we were doing. I started honestly doing the CFL as a gimmick, and then I started actually. I wasn't good at it the first couple of times where I felt like my handicapping was correct and needed some luck. And yeah, since then it's 5-1. I've been on a run, so yeah, pretty good with the CFL, including not just using the spread. We did have the plus 175 upset.
Yep. The last 3 weeks, we've gone 14-6, up 10.1 units, 8-8, up 1.2 units, and 12-5, up 10.05 units. So nice little run one right now through 3 weeks. Papadou crushed it on the baseball side. If With a Moonlight got home, we'd be up 15 units for the week. That would have been phenomenal as well. So it was a very, very good week. Make sure we're having a lot of fun with the show too. So make sure you come check out the show. You can have a bunch of fun in there and comment with your best bets. And just don't be like Doc and make bad arguments. Just come with information if you're going to come at us.
It's a lot of fun. Again, subscribe to youtube.com/racingdudes. Hit the little notification bell so you get alerted whenever we go live or post videos. The bell's going to be happening a lot, but that's because we got some good stuff coming. Hey, before we leave, Jets-Falcons tonight. Any thoughts, Mr. Degenerate?
I just took some Jets first half. It got up to 3, so I decided it was time to jump aboard. I was looking at possibly playing the Falcons first half because it was Falcons -3 for the game, -0 for the first half. They just shifted over to Falcons -4 for the game, Jets +3 for the first half. I like the Jets in the first half. I will take Flacco and White over Ritter, who's a rookie quarterback out of Cincinnati. So give me the two veteran quarterbacks who are fighting for a backup position, especially now that you have Zach Wilson out for a couple weeks. This is actually for the starter position of their lineup. You're going to see them both play in the first half. The two of them should play the first half. I like the quarterback matchup for the Jets here against the Falcons tonight.
I mean, not only that, but you got to remember these guys that sometimes they're fighting for a job. It might not be with this team, but it's like if they both perform well, one of them's might probably get a job or get picked up somewhere else. Injuries happen. Those quarterbacks are needed.
The other interesting thing is that coming out of Jets camp, you already had Zach Wilson slander before he got hurt. They already started to talk about how they like the way Flacco threw the ball better. I think some of these receivers may actually prefer Flacco against Zach Wilson. And Flacco, again, against the third stringers, yeah, he's old. Yeah, he's not that good anymore. If he's playing starters, I want no piece of him. But when he's playing second and third stringers, he's one of the best players out there on the field. So I think the Jets have an edge. I don't think they should be catching 3 points in the first half. So give me Jets +3 first half. Not going to touch the full game because, man, it gets sloppy after they get those quarterbacks out of there.
Dr. Tang, I know you're busy curing cancer. He is at camp today. He wants to know where Tom Brady's at. Tom Brady's at camp.
This I think is correct. If you want to go in a Reddit rabbit hole, there is a Reddit about how Tom Brady is actually on The Masked Singer, and you laugh. When Joe Buck signed with Fox, he was on The Masked Singer, and they actually had, because they wanted to promote him on the Fox show. Brady signed a contract while he was retired to be on Fox as 10-year play-by-play guy as soon as he retires. Part of that contract apparently had the stipulation that he had to do The Masked Singer. And when you look at the dates for the third set of people, it is exactly the dates he missed would be when The Masked Singer was filming. There's a really good Reddit thread with all of the different data points if you want to dive into it. I'll post it on Twitter if anyone wants to check it out. So check it out. I'll throw it up there. But it is a really funny thread, and the guy did some super sleuthing to figure it out.
Oh boy, poor Tom Brady. Can't even live a life. Can't even go on Masked Singer without people figuring it out.
I wonder if that breaches his contract. Because you're not supposed to know who's on The Masked Singer. And if everyone figured it out, wouldn't Fox be pissed?
Well, I from what I understand, the first season Masked Singer, people figured out a lot of them pretty easily. Like, I guess it wasn't that hard to figure out, and the judges are forced to play stupid for the show.
Oh, okay. I've never watched the show. But I guess you can apply to go to live viewings of it, to recordings.
Yeah.
And that's how people figured out what the dates were for each of the groups of The Masked Singer. Because there were 3 sets of dates, and this specific third set is exactly the dates he missed training camp. And it would have ended yesterday, the 21st, and voila, Tom Brady's back on the 22nd.
And it's working. Chris says everyone will watch the show, see if he's actually on. Dr. Tane believes it. Yeah, Marla with the Reddit love. Yeah, it could happen. Listen, when it happens, let us know. We're not going to be there to find out. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back on Wednesday at noon Eastern for the first of 5 straight YouTube Bet Daily in bidets is almost what I said. YouTube Bet Daily. Speaking of that, YouTube Bet Sports will be live in 1 hour at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. So tune in for that one for Papa Dude and Aaron's thoughts. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. I'm at Chris Kalleward. He is at Somobomb 18, number 8, corporate overlords at racing_dudes. Any final thoughts, Mr. Somich?
Jets. Let's get that first half home.
There you go. Until Wednesday when we're back for Dudes Who Bet Daily, I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Good luck this week.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.